morning, all of you. This is Madan Manandar, module leader of MOIC L6 at British College, Kathmandu. Today we are having a brief presentation on organizational cultures from among the students of EL6. The very purpose of this brief presentation is to actually seek opinion from all the students about the kind of organizational culture they really love to work in coming days. So we are focusing on their presentation based on their self-knowledge as well as experience they have gained from inside the class as well as from their own personal life also. So thank you, my dear colleagues, my dear students. Now we'll start one-to-one. First, I will invite Roshan Raj Mehta. His user's ID number is 100360025.
Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Roshan Raj Mehta. I'm from L6. My student ID number is 100360025. For today's presentation, the organization that I've chosen is KFC. The reason I chose this organization was because I like the corporate culture. I worked in KFC JV for 2 years, from April 2010 to August 2012. So it is my experience that I'll be sharing during this presentation. Right, the reason why I like this organization culture is the autonomy, right? Flexible working hours, staff recognition and reward, opportunity for growth, training before implementation of change. I want to work in an organization that has this culture. So that is my future plan. Right, autonomy. So autonomy in KFC, when you work at KFC, you do not have to wait for someone to tell you to do something. You are responsible for things. If there is a queue outside, if you're a cook, you don't have to wait your manager to tell you to go and cook because there is queue outside. You see the queue, you start cooking. You don't have to take, you don't have to wait for the decision. Similarly, if you are in the lobby, if you're working in the lobby, you see the queue, you don't, alright, there are few people there, they'll manage it. You go, you leave whatever you're doing, you go to the till and start serving the customers. So that responsibility I've seen in the employees at KFC during my experience. There's no pressure from the managers. The managers won't be observing you all the time. It's you who have to realize it and do that. Fulfill your duty. That is taught at KFC. Right. Next, flexible working hours. When you're working at KFC, as a staff, you're allowed to choose when do you want to work. You can negotiate your working hours with your managers. So I think it's a very advantage. Sometimes you've got things to do, you've got some plans, so you could move your hours. So when I was in UK, I was allowed to work 20 hours, and I could use that 20 hours, work 20 hours in 2 days. Like staff recognition and reward. I like this very much, because I had many stuff that I like KFC thing. I got the band, pen drives, T-shirts, and so many things from KFC as a reward for my better performance. Now, that one thing the advantage of doing this is that you feel that you're very attached to the organization, because you have got, even if you're not working, you have got KFC pen drive. All right, you work at KFC. So see, and you get see the awards. There is Employee of the Month, there are champs, there are so many competitions on, if you perform well, you'll be filled with the awards, right? And of course, bonuses as well. You get vouchers for shopping vouchers and all, if you perform well. So I think that's very important. Opportunity for growth. If you work well, it doesn't matter whether you have been there for a year or 6 months. If you're working well, if you're very much committed to the job, you can get promotion. The manager will be watching you longer to learn. Some some can learn in very few, in a certain period of time. So the growth is provided according to your performance level. If you can perform well in 6 months, you'll be promoted to team leader, then assistant manager, then manager of the KFC, and then you can go to area coach. Even if you're not qualified, even if you're not graduated from, even if you don't have a university degree, you can get promoted trusted in KFC if you work well, if you perform well. For 1 week, they do not open for 1 week. The renovation is done, they do not open for a week. They call all the staff every day for 7 days to come and observe the changes, so that they can learn, they can know where the things are. So when it reopens, they won't have any problem in adjusting to the change. So that is, I think, it's a very much effective plan to avoid resistance from change. Alright. Okay, that was all the cultures I identified the most important at KFC during my experience for 2 years. Okay, well, there's one last and most important reason why I want to work in an organization like that. That is great food.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Andrew Sharma, L6. My student ID is 13042661. We're here for managing organization and individual change. The way I've structured the slides is I'll talk about individual change first, then I'll lead into organizational change, and I'll link into the Nepalese context. Let's move on. Right, my individual experience. I work for one of the largest retailers in the UK in the electronics field, Comet. Joined at the age of 18, just come out doing my A-levels from Nottingham. The only international staff at work. This was, you must imagine working with all white staff and being the only international staff at work. It's different. How I handled the change, I'll talk about that. I worked in a somewhat racially biased part of Southeast England. A black man was killed 2 days before I started work. So imagine me walking into work with all that fear. I struggled at the start because I was heavily racialized at the workplace. A white member of his customer would come in and he would say, I don't want to be served by you, I want to be served by a white guy. This is exactly what he said to me. What do you do in that case? Okay, I'll get a white. Even when the lunchtime came, everyone used to go to the lunchroom. I wouldn't. I would go outside because I didn't feel comfortable with people at the workplace. Then I went through a storming phase. Because I was heavily bullied, I thought I should not bear this for long. You see, I was apart, I stayed apart, I wouldn't talk to anyone at the workplace. Then slowly things started becoming normal. There was a manager who comforted me. So, norming, I was thinking, okay, this phase is actually right. Then I went through a performing phase. I thought, okay, if others can do it, if this white person can do it, why can't I? What is preventing me from? I can speak English, I know electronics, what is preventing me? That's where I started hitting high levels of performance. Right, individual change. Page 158 of core book says, to bring about change, you either need to increase the strength of the driving forces or decrease the strength of resisting forces. In my case, the driving forces are obviously strong. I knew electronics, I had come out as an IT and computing student, so I knew the computing industry ins and outs. I had more technical knowledge than any of the staff that worked there. Television, you name it. I used to repair TVs. Levin's model applies to how I dealt with personal change. On three, first I had motivation to change. Others were performing, why wasn't I able to? A psychological safety was created. So I was thinking, okay, now I feel relatively comfortable because my product knowledge is greater than everyone else's. So that is where I can actually start, I can actually improve. The second, change. So what I did is I learned the ins and outs of the industry. I researched all the laptop industry. I knew what products had how much margin. I researched into major manufacturers like Panasonic, which was a hot cake, especially in televisions, because we had to sell TVs. I researched ins and outs of televisions. I researched where the screen was manufactured, where each individual components were manufactured, and what their product life was. I researched into Sony and Samsung. And I also, because I knew the Apple guy, I actually went through a course called Apple Sales Professional. And you know that Apple is a luxury product. When you can sell £1,000 laptop, ins and outs, your sales figures go really high. Third, rephrase. Then I was finally comfortable because I'd gained all the knowledge, I'd taken training, and I did not feel like quitting anymore. I thought, okay, now I can actually shine in this place. I was delivering good sales. Every laptop that I sold had insurance attached to it, had peripherals, had laptops, mouse, insurance, everything, the whole package. Now I'll talk about organization change. Recession hit Britain in 2008 and 2009. Stores were not making profit, including my store. Comet was being sold because it made a loss of £1 million. First time in 75 years it made a loss. With two potential new owners, Up Capita and Haley Holdings. These were poor management companies because Comet was losing money. They're being sold to these two companies. Finally, we were acquired by Capita, which then restructured everything. So the organization was in new ownership, we are restructured. Charles Handy's model talks about 4 different types. We were more on the power side of things at beginning because Kiza Electronicals, our French retailer, owned us at the beginning. But as Capita took over, we went into role-based. It tends to be steady, relatively unchanging, and the work was more predictable. Capita approach. Charismatic transformation approach was used as there was little time and organization was out of it. When a new organization joined in, we are a failing business. They had to do things very quick. So they used the charismatic transformation approach. Capita introduced commission of every single item. So previously we used to be given commission on a monthly basis, but as soon as a new company acquired, every product we sold had a commission attached to it. So salespeople were more driven. Capita couldn't run Comet. Unfortunately, they could not after 9 months, and we had to dispose it off. Taxpayers in England had to pay £50 million because we had so much liabilities. The question is, what could have been done different? Burken and Badham, 2008, again core book, argue that a politically skilled change agent is needed, also termed as political entrepreneur. There was no time to negotiate disagreements and concerns in this case. So power-assisted steering approach. Power-assisted means you have to force things through. Your story is failing, do things as quick as possible. Managing the culture within an organization needs to be based on situational constraints. At that time, if they had carefully analyzed situation, talked to the sales staffs, because we were the people that were dealing with customers. We knew what was going on in the business. If they had asked us, maybe they could have run it even further. A business that made £25 million in the previous year, made 1 million loss, it could have again made profit, but they didn't listen to us. Managers should not focus on telling or selling, but rather on participating approach. They should have used participatory approach. Now I'll take you to the Nepalese context. In Nepalese context, organizations are not flat, but rather hierarchical. Autocratic leadership style exists in most of our organizations. The use of appreciative inquiry in Nepalese organizations is very less, and managers think the employees are motivated only by money. Here if you think, oh, I'll raise his salary and he'll be quiet. No, there are other things that motivate employees at the workplace. There is only telling leadership behavior in most of the Nepalese organizations today. Hershey and Blancard model. We'll go through that model. Thank you for listening. Before I come to it, there are 2 things I'll tell you. In my perspective, individual change starts when people actually realize they can change. An organization culture can sometimes help, but it's always down to the individual level. If you have good managers actually motivating you on a daily basis, that will help you. But if you have an autocratic manager telling you, dictating things for you, you'll never improve. And it will be only a matter of time before you think you would want to leave the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, next is Arad Tulada, 130-42662, UE users ID.
A very good morning to all present. I'm Arad Tulada, and I'll be presenting on the topic that was given to us based on organizational culture and the organization that I'll be willing to work in. So firstly, I'll be talking about my experience and then the organization that I'll be working in, and also the organizational culture that I would like to be working with. So my first experience was with Himalayan Times. As of organizational culture, we understand the set of norms, values, and ethics that gets incorporated with us, and we reflect by working in that organization. So there was I was interviewed, and after a lot of interviewing and selection process, I was finally selected at Himalayan Times. And his employees had problems, but he was not considering. He said that 3 articles were needed per week, and they were not fulfilling, so he was not willing to give them any leave. Some people had to take leave because they had weddings to attend, but nothing was being considered. It was an autocratic leadership style, and I think he lacked emotional intelligence, and that basically led to me quitting the job because I didn't want to work in an organization culture which was so strict and which didn't give authority to the employees, not just that much. So this also relates to the theory of F.W. Taylor, economic man theory. which says that man is only motivated by money. So this is not true, but this sadly is the case, as Angel said, in Nepal, in most of the organizations. When Himalayan Times just said that they'll pay me this much money, and that's just about it. There was nothing, getting me motivated to write for Himalayan Times. They were scolding people because they couldn't meet deadlines. People, employees, they were very self-centered. They didn't work in teams. They were very individualistic. So I believe teamwork also should be there, or should be part of organizational culture, or that organization which I'd be working for. I'd also like to link this to Oprah Winfrey's interview in the Stanford University. What she said was, if you land up in a place where you don't want to be, eventually you'll land up in a place that you want to be. So working in Himalayan Times and working in Visual Motor Traders, I found out that these organizations lacked organizational culture, lacked the organizational culture I wanted to be in. So the kind of organization that I'd be working for in past or in future will be like Google. Google, why? Because honesty is the best policy, according to Google. There's enough opportunities for growth and training programs. There is authority to make decisions. You have the authority, and you are also accountable. That also should be considered. And you are willing to work in teams. People that you're working with are very much friendly, or they've been through series of trainings, and they have the ability to work in teams. So this is basically a theory Y concept. Managers need to control their employees. So this sort of organizational culture might not work. And theory Y is much more appropriate in today's context. And this, I believe, is also what we as students must change, as students of business management must change in our localized context as well. So Visual Motor Traders, what I also as a human resource manager stepped up, and I started, building relationships with employees. There was a very sad incident also that I'd like to share at Visual Motor Traders. There was this accountant that we had, and he was working, but he was like not working, you can say. Basically, he used to come, read newspapers in the organization, and when I just flipped through the accounts books, I came to find out that 50 lakhs rupees, Nepalese rupees, was in credit. So he didn't call the people that should pay the money. He just sat there, called his girlfriend, and started reading newspapers. So I found that very rude or absurd. So I started calling, and within a week I was able to collect 1,80,000 rupees within a week, just by calling the customers who had to pay their money. So this just proved to him that I was taking his place in the job. I was so mad at this guy because he was not working, and I just told him in front of everybody. So it was just like in the case of Himalayan Times. I humiliated him in front of others. So that I also learned, it was a lesson for me. So now whenever I have problems with my employees as well, or managing employees, I call them in the office and I explain to them what they are doing wrong, and they should work in teams. Even if I have problems with 2 employees, then I call them and I ask them what is the problem, and I solve them. And now slowly by slowly, Visual Motor Traders is also gradually upgrading the organization that I'm working in. So this basically tells us that organizational culture is important. So just a brief recap. I talked about my experience at the Himalayan Times and why it was so bad, because the manager was just autocratic, and he had no emotional intelligence. He just thought that paying money would motivate employees, which was not the case. And Visual Motor Traders, where teamwork training was needed, and also a way of good management was needed. Even as managers, we needed to update it ourselves to theory Y of McGregor's, and to think that our employees are capable, and employees also need to be motivated in ways and not humiliated in public. So this is basically my presentation on the organization culture that I'd like to be working on. And I think Google, based on the movie of The Internship, have you seen the movie Internship? So it's basically a group of guys who get to work in Google, and they just don't want to leave the job because the environment is so good. The teamwork, the training, the opportunity of growth, the authority to make decisions, that is what motivates them. So organization culture, all in all, in conclusion, is important for an individual to decide whether or not he or she would like to work for an organization. As managers, we should be able to give that environment to our employees. Thank you.
Okay, now next is Bilal.
Hello everyone, my name is Bilal Subedi and my student ID is 130426663. I choose Kantipur Publication as an organization that I would like to work for because of its organization culture. I strongly believe the personal character that I have should be similar to the organization that I like to work for, because if I want to show my full efficiency in the organization, then I have to be motivated in different terms to be fully efficient. So I would like to choose Kantipur Publication. If I am not fully motivated, if I'm not fully efficient in an organization, then there's no point me being there. I cannot deliver what I want to. I cannot give my full efficiency to the organization, and it would be like even from the organization side, it would be like I wouldn't be like fully efficient. So I would like to discuss my personal characteristics first. So my personal characteristics are punctual. I'm very much punctual. I'm able to work under pressure. I'm straightforward. Creative, and I like to work in team, and most importantly, I like to work under freedom. I like to work whenever I want, wherever I want, if I'm fulfilling my goal in the organization. So I choose Kantipur because of the organization culture, like opportunity for my growth, encourage creativity and innovation, motivation, teamwork, and obviously good pay. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Dhirendra Shrestha and my UWE ID is 130426664. The company I have chosen is Google. At Google, you get to work with some of the brightest, most innovative, most ambitious and hardworking minds in the industry. In doing so, I have the opportunity to work with many different kinds of brain. I do not want to be the smartest guy in the room. That way, there will be no room for improvement. And when you work with this kind of people, it always keeps you on your toes, and it motivates you to work even better. And the kind of motivation it comes from inside, and I think that is the best form of motivation. Great resources. Google launched a program called Grow. It's a program where an employee can search different careers, jobs within Google that you're interested in, so the work is not monotonous. Great rewards. At Google, employees believe that company rewards them fairly and in a consistent base. Google appreciates their contribution. Great challenges. At Google, 89% of the employees believe that Google gives them required training and fair promotion and personally challenging job. Fun and celebration. At Google, employees throw regular parties, they play sports together, have happy hours, and celebrate engagements. Google is more than just a job. Your employees take great pride to work on projects that change the world, like Google Maps and Android. Plenty of opportunities to find something that you are interested in. Because Google is involved in a large number of industries, there are a lot of opportunities you can look for where you have your interest on. And if a particular assignment is not challenging enough for you, you can always move to another harder assignment. The benefits and care of employees is unparalleled, and compensation is almost unmatchable. At Google, perks are amazing. There are cafes at all locations where employees have access to the nutritious food, and as in KFC, the foods are free. And they have a car wash, hair salon, and lots of other benefits. Smart but not boastful and caring employees. At Google, there are lots of geniuses, but they are not boastful at all. Each employee always looks to help another employees if they are stuck in something. They sometimes even go out of their way to help each other. The company is amazingly open and flexible.
Hello everyone, I'm Gitanjali, and now I'll go on with the presentation that we have already did. Like I have the same kind of topic, organization that I would like to work in, and I would like to work in an organization which core organization culture is creativity and innovation, and I found just the right one, which is Apple. And known for its innovation and creativity, most of the students in our class have Apple products or at least have used Apple product, and we know how frequently they produce new product, new software. So it's basically known for creativity and innovation, and these two factors are actually in their core corporate culture and even in organizational culture. So Tim Cook, executive of Apple, said that we believe in deep collaboration and cross-pollination of our groups, which allow us to innovate in a way that others cannot. Here we can see that how much team cooperation is emphasized by Tim Cook, executive of Apple. So making people work in a group helps to bring out a lot of new, innovative and creative ideas, and ultimately help your organization to flourish and stand on your aim, your goals. These kind of organization which heavily emphasize on innovation and creativity use tools like incremental change and organizational development in their organizational culture. Incremental change is something where you do not feel the urgency, where organizations do not really feel the urgency of changes, but still bring changes into the organization so that it will be proactive. So it will be ready for any kind of changes that might come across to the organization, and it is done through the active participation of the employees more than the managers, top levels of managers. And organizational development is something that Carl Lewin developed during 1947, though it's quite old tool. It's widely used now because in organizational development it helps organization to work against the fierce business competitions through the active participations of the employees, of course. And another is improvement through appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry, as we have done before, it is basically looking into the positive aspects of everything. So these kind of organization look into the positive aspects of your performance, of your problems, of the way you are working in the organization and the way the organization as a whole is working. So looking into the positive aspects and improving those things can actually yield more than the desired result. So organization will come out as Apple, which is one of the most loved organization in the US. So these kind of organizational culture will not only bring in the capabilities to change and to innovate and create new things, but it will also help the organization to be ready for any kind of changes in employee spaces and also in management spaces. So why would I work in an organization which is constantly changing? Like you have to go through different kind of changes. Why would I work in? Whereas we humans, being humans, tend to resist changes because it will help in our behavioral and cognitive development. It means it will develop both of our soft and hard skills. adaptability abilities, because we are going through so many of changes. You have to work in one group for a month, and then you will be allocated in another group, or even in departments. Then the adaptive abilities will ultimately change, will increase. So we will not be afraid of changes. Instead, we will be ready for the changes. Interactive abilities. As I told you, the Apple company heavily emphasize on working teams and cross-functional team working together. So interactive abilities increases because you are working in a team and a group of teams were working as a group. So the need of you going and talking to people who you do not even know, or who are working along with you, will increase. So the point you are trying to put in front of people, the ability to put your thought in front of people will actually increase. And proactive learning, because the organization will provide you heavy trainings and personal development trainings as well. The learning abilities of yours, of mine, will also increase. So proactive learning is one of the tool of having, which will influence both of your hard and soft skill. And positive attitude formation, because the organization is being using appreciative inquiry tool as a organizational development tool in order to develop the organization. It will look into the positive aspects of everything. So not only in your work culture, in your job, but will also help in looking into the positive aspects of your life, and you will end up being a good person from inside. And that's all. Thank you.
Himalayas Shrestha. His ID number is 13042666666.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'll be talking about Google. It was rated one. It was the #1 company for 4 years, as rated by Fortune magazine. I want to work in Google because of the facilities. The first one is health. Actually, they have on-site doctor for each and every staff. The second one is food. As Roshan said, in KFC, they provide free food. So as Google also provide free food for their staffs. And haircuts. Actually, if you are living in US, then haircut is a major problem over there. Then they subsidize the haircuts. Actually, I don't need a haircut, but even though if I'm going to work over Google, if I need a haircut, then it will be cheap for me. Keeping the employees updated. Larry Page and Sergey Brin host annual events and keep updating for new products so that we can know where the Google is heading. And if you are a good employee, then they'll give you small and big contribution. They'll be paying you in Google stocks. So that's a very good news. Their IPO was for 84 in the starting years, while right now their stock is valued at $535. Making HR into science. Actually, Google collects all the data and clarifies the problem. Like the one problem they solve through their HR into science is for the retention problem with female employees. Found out that the female were leaving twice the rate as the male. So they found out the major issues. The main issues were maternity leave for new mothers. Actually, they provide 5 months paid leave instead of 12 weeks, whereas in India they pay you around $250 if you have a child. Google showers its employees with unique perks such as they'll provide you $5,000 if you have a hybrid car. So the major point why I want to join Google is dog friendly company. I really love my dog. So actually, if you have a dog, if your dog is not that aggressive, then you can bring your dog in Google. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. As talking with choice for the organization, I would like to work in FSI 360. It's an international NGO. It conducts its program in more than 70 countries, 70 different countries. As well as it conducts its program in all the almost all the territories in US. It focuses on holistically in search of solutions, as they have the slogan called "We live in a complex world where challenges are intimately linked, and so must be in the solution. So must be the solution." As for this selection of the organization FSI 360, they work in different programs in different sectors like health, education, nutrition, environment, economic development, civil society. Promote their branding by giving giveaways as cups, mugs, pen drives, and T-shirts and other stuffs in all the regions, not only in Nepal, in all the regional offices like in Africa, Malaysia, Indonesia. They go for the idea and innovation sections for the new incoming interns. Their mission structure is clearly defined. They provide a framework for strategic decision making and coordination. They help to reduce the complexity and uncertainty by providing consistent values. As a whole, I would like to work in FSI 360 due to its team support, team coordination. They go with the common values as embracing innovation, mutual respect, accountability, passion to make positive difference, committed to excellence and teamwork. Thank you. That's all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nuraz Batazu, and my symbol number is 130-46672. And like all of you guys, I'll be talking about organizational culture, and especially the organizational culture that I want to adopt and I want to work in. Let's get started. Firstly, what culture is? Culture is a social glue that helps an organization together, help hold an organization together by providing appropriate standards for what employees should say or do. So we know what culture is basically. Culture, like, we've been brought up with different kind of cultures. Let's say, like, whether you guys are from Kathmandu or Bhaktapur, Lalitpur, Pokhara, there's different culture. There's different culture inside the society also. Next. So, what organizational culture is? I'll just touch upon this because we all know what this is. Organizational culture is the personality of an organization. This is the best way to define like what an organizational culture is. It is difficult to express distinctly, but everyone knows it when they sense it. Now I'll explain you. Explain you about three brands that are the benchmark when you talk about organizational culture. The first being Google. Google, everyone knows what Google is. It's an open culture. Everyone is hands-on contributors, feels comfortable sharing ideas and opinions. You can suppose I am a staff of Google and I have any problems regarding my job and all. So I can directly approach to the CEOs, the co-founders, like regarding my problems, and at any number of times, like I can do that. And with perks galore, from free food to main campus that rivals a best world-class resort. Now, except for from the internet, how I came to know more about Google is like I have a friend, but however Google will help her and motivate her along with the job that she does in Google. Google's cooperation culture is standard by which all the tech companies are measured, so it sets a benchmark. Next is the Facebook. Open and transparent with no hierarchies. Facebook's main employee campus was inspired by Disneyland. Now that is like, suppose imagine your main office or campus like, and it has like Disneyland theme. Now the next is like NASA. So this is like quite it contradicts to the before, like Google and Facebook. However, I being a science student before before the bachelor's, I've always wanted to, like, my dream was like working for NASA, and I've studied a lot about what NASA they do and all. So the best thing I like about NASA is like they get the things done. They want something, they'll get the things done. That is what we want from an organization. However, there is a strict hierarchical structure, and it can be best described as club culture. But if you work hard, you'll be rewarded and your work will pay off. The hiring process is pretty intense for these working environments. Require multiple interviews and stellar resumes, references to back it up, background checks and so on. So getting on these kind of organizations is very hard, but you have the perks as well. Okay. Experience. I haven't worked in a particular organization like applying and all, but however, as I come from a family like where the business, I have a family business, so I've been involved in the family business from the very childhood. I'll just share a few things what I experienced there. So, like I'll take a comparison between my dad's bigger brother, who we call in Nepali as Thuluwa, and my dad himself. So like how the organization culture was different in both of them is like my dad's big elder brother Thuluwa, he was like a strict boss. Suppose it was an automobile business, so you had a lot of like automobile details going on. Sometimes the cars and all will not start, and you have to push them like to get it started and all. These all happen. So what my Thuluwa used to do is like just sit down and he'll be like commanding it, like push and all. Whereas my dad used to be the one, like he used to push himself with the employees. Okay? Even this like small thing, it makes a lot of difference in an organizational culture in the family. Employees respected my dad for that. They had that feeling that he's always there. Okay, boy, like whatever happens, he'll be there. The same was not the opinion towards my Thuluwa. This you can relate as Arad said earlier with McGregor's theory Y, which can be implied to my dad, and another theory X to my Thuluwa. Nice. Now the type of organizational culture that I would like to work in, I haven't decided yet, but these are the things that it should have. It should have a clear mission, then live by it daily. Develop a strategic plan that's understood and embraced by all levels of organizations. Show me a company with great communication and I'll show you a great company. Build a culture where everyone is a part of the team. Be flexible to change. And at last, not the least, I want to have fun. If I want to teach, then I want to have fun teaching it. If I want to be a driver, I want to have fun driving whatever the car I am driving. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good morning. The organization I would like to work for is Google. Reason is it because it's a big playground for adults with the facility of a big mall. Okay, it has a very friendly, welcoming work environment. Just imagine, which company would provide you a ground to play volleyball, or a cafe and even nap pods. If you don't want to work, just go take a snooze. In case of Nepal, if you just go and take a snooze, you're fired the next day. Freedom of doing things that is important to the company. For employees, they give you total freedom of do what is important for the company. Make your own decision. Just have fun. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure are the pillar of success. So, some great advice Google gives to their employees. Don't be afraid to fail, or not to be afraid to succeed. Or don't even feel shy to ask what you have to do, what you're not feeling comfortable with. Innovative technology and the people that work in Google really makes Google stand out. It's the innovative idea, the technology they used in Google, and the employees that the employees that are working in Google, that really makes Google stand out. Consequently, it has been 8 times that Google has been known for the happy company. Google brings together smart, talented people from from all backgrounds. Managers act with integrity and care towards employees. Manager give clear vision and direction. So what manager does is that they give you a path, show you a direction where you should head, so that you don't feel confused about what I should do next, or what am I doing, or am I doing the right thing or not. Training and development. Different kind of career guru program is given by Google to employees to increase their confidence, and different kind of trainings. Google has a genuine interest in developing their employees' career, especially when it comes to internal mobility. To retain employees' talent, Google provides tons of opportunity and also doesn't hesitate to invest in their employees. Passion and motivation to get things done, because you don't necessarily have to know everything, but you have to be willing to learn. Google really doesn't care if you're a 90% scholar or have a very good transcript. They just tend to find employees that have the ability to learn new technology, new ideas. In Google's dictionary, impossible is not just a word. That's it. Thank you.
Sulabh Dakal, his ID is 13042-679.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm presenting on the choice of organization that I would like to work in future. And talking about me, I'm a kind of a person who would want to do business in future, but if I had to do a job, then I would select a specific organization. So generally, every individual has a goal. In future, they're like probably interested. Some may be interested in marketing, some may be interested in HR, some may be interested in administration, some may be interested in accounts. So they have their own fields of interest. So they probably want to work in an organization where they will best possibly able to show their abilities and capabilities. So in my opinion, I would like to work in an organization which is located in Nepal. It's called Cinnabar Private Limited, and its head office is in Zamal, Kathmandu, Nepal. The main businesses that they focus on are tobaccos, garment, safety matches, and incense sticks, agarbattis, also known as agarbatti in Nepali. The organization culture in Cinnabar. Cinnabar has always been focused in innovating new products, new ideas, generating and creating new ideas and bringing new products, delivering new products to the customers. Emphasis on outcome. Their main motive is to show results. The main motive is to show results, and they have been able to do this by emphasizing on the outcome and their goals. They have the desired goals and objectives that the employees are prescribed to do. Expansion. Nepal has been engaged in continuous expansion, and recently they've also opened up a huge factory in a place called Khairendar, where they are to produce tobacco, massive tobacco, and they have huge number of employees. Teamwork. Nepal. I have also been engaged with Nepal for sponsorships, and I know the organization culture as in general. So what they do is they work in cross-functional teams, which means that employees from different departments come together and work as a team to bring up the best possible outcome. Aggressiveness. They have aggressive marketing techniques, aggressive product designing, and whatever the market seeks, whatever the customer wants, they deliver it as fast as possible. Stability. So Nepal in today's date is one of the most stable company in Nepal, having millions of turnovers every year, and it is also a subsidiary of ITC company India, and is supported by a huge company from abroad. So it is stable. It has been in the Nepalese market for a long time, and it has been performing well in terms of finance as well. Place for good leaders. Me personally, I would like to work in a place where I can expose my leadership capabilities. From a very young age, I've been always wanted to be a leader, and I always wanted to be work in teams and insist people, persuade people, and make the work done. So I would like to work in a place where they have space for good leadership. So Cinnabar is, I think, the perfect company for me. My personal characteristics that matches the company: leadership, interest in HR. Personally, I have a lot of interest in HR, and I like to work with people, engage with people, know their working conditions and everything. So I like to work in a company where leadership is open and when you can expose your leadership capabilities. Teamwork, mixing up and making new circles. In a big company like this, you always have an opportunity to mix up with people and make new circles, make new friends, and work in a cross-functional teams, as I said before. Pressure working. Since it is a very big organization, you might have to do pressure working. There might be certain tasks that you need to perform, certain duties, certain responsibilities that might occur anytime. So you need to do pressure working as well, and I like to work under pressure. Efficiency. You need to be efficient, productive, and you should be giving your 100% every time while on work. That's what I would like to work in. Shows professionalism. Attracted to good pay and benefits. Obviously, everyone who likes to do a job will be attracted to good pay and benefits. And Cinnabar in terms of Nepal, is one of the best companies which provide the best pays. And it has they pay bonuses, they give benefits, they give fringe benefits like insurance and other benefits, like if you're in a higher level, they provide you with cars and everything. They give continuous promotion if you're doing well, if you're being productive. They evaluate your performance and they reward you accordingly. Secure job seeking. Once you're in Nepal, you work for a long time. When you retire from a higher post, the pay is excellent. The retire benefits are also excellent. So it's a really, really secure job. So that's pretty much it. And thank you for listening.
Hi everyone, my name is Unlearn, and talking about my experience. I used to work in a small restaurant, and I'm going to talk about the negative part of the organization culture.
Very good. Okay, go ahead.
And there was no teamwork at all. And another thing was performance was not appraised. Next thing was every day doing the same thing. It create the situation of the monotonous, you know what I mean? It's like doing same thing every day, same thing, but different day. So there was no opportunity to learn new thing, or extra thing outside that thing what you're gonna do in that work, right? So I would prefer to work in that organization where there would be opportunities for our development. That means my development, and performance should be appraised, even if it is good or bad, right? And there should be a teamwork. That's all.
Pukar Karki, his item number is 150000569. Pukar. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pukar Karki, and today I'm going to talk about a company called Untitled.
Very good.
Because Untitled, they are one of the highest taxpayer of the country, and they provide a good service. Like, they are helping connecting people to each other, and like they pay good as well.
Arjun Kunwar. His item number is 150000660.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Arjun Kunwar, and my student UW ID number is 15660. And today I'll be talking about the organizational culture, and basically I'll be relating my experience with the culture in the organization which I've worked in when I was in UK. Before that, I'll be briefly summarizing what culture is and how it came to the organization. And the term culture was first used in anthropological context at the end of 19th century to refer civilization and social heritage. And we talk a lot about the organizational culture. So basically, organization adopted the culture in the year 1980, and they caught the interest of management and practitioners during that period. So how you define organizational culture? The norms and values that the organization holds simply state the organizational culture. And it is argued that culture in an organization are of two types. That's one is less visible culture, which is deeper. So basically, it's shared by the groups of people, and it's persistent over the time and change as the group changes. So basically, when the shareholders or stakeholders change, culture also changes in organization. And another one is surface and visible culture. So when you go for the retail outlets, you see dress up, and you see the hospitality, and it is more easier to adopt the visible culture by the new employees. So new employee meant to adopt this because it is behavior pattern or style of an organization. So we came to know that organizational culture leads to shared values, beliefs, and behavioral norms. And from the formal and informal socialization process, employee tend to know the organizational culture. Basically, when the new employee go to the organization, there is the formal process to explain about the culture of an organization. And there is another process that's informal. You go for a pub or you go for a social clubbing. So this was the company which I have worked for the 3.5 years while I was in UK. And this is one of the major company in UK in the retail sector. They got more than 1,400 store outlets and more than 25,000 employees working over there. And I started in 2011, and basically I started as the frontline colleague, and later I was promoted to deputy manager in 2 years' time. So basically this company won the best company to work for the 2 years in the 5 years in the 2012 and 2014. So after that, this Michael Moker is the CEO of that organization, and he said that we have always lived by the principle that happy staff make happy customers. Basically, he focused for the employee satisfaction first to beside customers. That was the corporate culture of the organization. And happy customers put cash in the till. He believes that happy customers put cash in the till. Our future success will continue to be based on offering great products, fantastic value, and outstanding service, and on treating our people fairly and doing our utmost to prove that it is possible to do a great job and have some fun. So in that organization, management believed that shared culture and beliefs increase employee loyalty towards organization and hence increase performance. So they are interlinked with each other. And company's culture manage diversity. So organization standards are maintained considering employee belief, action, ethics. Basically, that's the British company. Despite that being a British company, they prefer the culture of other people, like from the Muslim society as well, from my society as well, and they cooperate with each other. So what I like in that organization, basically, all employees can influence the future of organization. That all employees are equally valued. Basically, if you are working as a frontline colleague, still you can make complaint to the manager through the area manager. So basically, responses, comments, and suggestions are well listened in the organization. If there is problem with your manager, you can directly complain to your area manager, where area manager takes action despite you are in the operation level. It doesn't matter in which position you are working in that organization. So next one is company's information should be available to anyone who needs it within an organization. Basically, everyone can access the information. So that's another culture. Company developed the culture of rewarding employee of the month in its store to enhance motivation and dedication to the organization. Russian expert in KMC, it's similar to that. And when you go to the office, you feel like that you are the part of the organization family. So there is no discrimination about the position as well. And each and every customers are well greeted and valued, providing high level of customer satisfaction, which they develop as an organization culture. But in Nepal, we like this. We don't have hospitality, I think, in Nepal. So basically, the changes in our organization was that they come to the decentralized culture, breaking the bureaucratic culture, where employee participation was highly prioritized, and they got a high flexible working shifts as well. So what I don't like about that organization is when employees finish their shift, they don't want to give even a single meal to the organization. So they don't work extra after the shift. And individual culture is more developed, that everyone knows that teamwork is very important, but they don't implement it at all. So I'll briefly summarize the importance of the organization culture. Culture can be illustrated by words, rather it is displayed by